I feel like we should be starting with some like Kid Rock shit for the show or something like that. Some music in the background, man.
Hell
Boom,
yeah.
da boom, da bang, diddy, diddy. Sorry. Oh, all right, everybody. Welcome to the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Myer along with Dan Palmieri, and this episode is going to be really talking about some of the Eagles' offensive overhauls. We're going to be highlighting some of our followers, their great comments, their bad comments, what the hell's happening with the Eagles' offense and all the coaches, some speculations. A.J. Brown we'll talk about for a whole hot 30 seconds because there's really nothing going on there. Super Bowl halftime, and the Eagles Autism Foundation, an event that's happening on May 9th. Dan, I'm going to give you your first 30 seconds to talk about, or at least bitch about, what the heck is going on, and including some of the breaking news that just happened. You ready, Dan? And you're on a time limit.
30 seconds? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Go.
I mean, we thought that there'd be nothing to talk about. I mean, literally, we thought it would be a slow offseason. We haven't had a press conference. We haven't had, any validation of what's happening. And it's like a complete overhaul on the coaching staff, on the players are like, it's a mass exodus. I've never seen a Super Bowl contending team who literally was just champions, less than a calendar year away or ago, and it's just like fire sale. Let's blow it up, and it's weird. It's so odd. I understand their offense was stagnant, but was it completely stagnant? And it's weird. Is that 30 seconds? It's weird.
It's totally, it's not something anybody expected. No, I want to really kick off this show, after we give Dan his little bitching session, because there's going to be more of those that are happening. And in fact, I'll probably rant a little bit. We will give Dan a chance to be positive on the show. Yeah, I know.
That segment should last about 2 seconds.
Just a little bit. Okay, first, we're going to do a twist and start this off. We have a number of followers. And in fact, thank you to all 11 followers, the good and the bad. Okay. Actually, we're nearing 300, but 11 sounds just even better. For all the comments that everybody's doing. Now, I really want to give a shout out to Deb68018. The comment, what is the point of this show? To complain about hypotheticals? Well, Deb, we really appreciate your comments, whether good or bad, because social media has given people a chance to be internet tough people at some things. And first of all, yes, the freedom of speech, and you can jump on there. A little bit about Deb, who is actual Daniel, hey, whatever it is, got a huge following on there. I think they're a cat person and a part-time Eagles fan. Thank you for your comment. Really appreciate it. All right. And then there's one here for Arcofatlas. Can't pronounce that crap at all. Is this dude the Philadelphia Eagles version of Emperor Palpatine? Oh, you know what?
Nerd alert.
You had the hoodie on, and it was
Hell
so
yeah.
dark. And yeah. But yes, there you go. First of all, yes, he is. And we brought him on the show. Okay, to Galaxy Light 32, gotta ask, where did you get the Super Bowl trophy, Dan?
Copytrophy.com. They make the authentic trophies. They're all validated. Literally, they have players sign some of them and whatnot. And it's not just Super Bowl trophies. I mean, I have this one. It's the only place I've ever found that has authentic NFC, AFC championship trophies. They have, if you're into basketball, they're into baseball. Any trophy that you want that's authentic, it's a little pricey, but it is perfect spec quality and amazing work. And if you're a huge fan and you have some disposable income, which I probably didn't, but the wife gave me the okay, so I was cool, then yeah, I definitely suggest it. Hopefully you can see that my shelf is a little bare because there's only 2 Super Bowl trophies, so hopefully we'll expand that in years coming.
I should have brought mine. So Dan brought one for me. A huge shout out to Dan for giving me my own trophy. I only have one. I mean, he has a little more disposable income.
Yeah. Let's just say that.
Or his choices are unique. Well, you know what? He's making some good choices for it. So first of all, Dan, where is that place again?
Copytrophy.com. It's perfect.
All right.
It's
We'll
awesome.
try to display that somewhere if I get around to it in the editing process. Also, our last person, Andrew with 2 W's, Lugo. Dude lives for speculation. Can't wait to watch the Eagles again without him being on this team. And this is a comment to A.J. Brown, by the way.
Yeah.
Got no time for games. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. Dan, what do you think of this comment?
Don't squeeze that juice. Haven't heard that in a while.
Well, okay, so let's talk about our AJ segment real quick because it's going to be 30 seconds. No news, I guess, is good news. We have no clue what's going on. It is Super Bowl week, and it's been boring for that just as well.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to speculate. Everybody's going to have their opinion. We can only voice our opinion on it. Well, yours and mine. I think we're kind of on the same boat. The offense might take a step back with him not being on the team from a production standpoint, but I go back to the point of, you look at San Francisco, you look at, Chicago, you look at these teams, they can actually, it's amazing, they can scheme their players open, not just rely on your one guy is going to beat our one guy. So you don't need that superstar. And I saw some comments before coming on here talking about, Devonte Smith and how I said personally he's a number one. I wholeheartedly believe that he is a number one superstar wide receiver. And if it wasn't for the load sharing that's needed to A.J. Brown, I think
to appease A.J. Brown.
I mean, I don't see anything that Devonte Smith does that says, oh, he's not a one wide receiver. I mean, I think he's a better route runner. I will say he's not as tough in traffic, but he makes catches that are ridiculous. So I think that he's the number one. So in turn, will our offense hurt a little bit? But like you said, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Do you take the drama or do you take the production? But the production was down. And the one thing that I cannot tolerate, and I hope that Philly fans can't tolerate, we are a blue-collar town. We want to see effort. Even if you suck, we want to see effort. I didn't see effort. I saw a wide receiver who just was out there going through the motions. He was not playing at 100% effort, and I can't tolerate that. I cannot tolerate that from guys that are making millions of dollars. I cannot tolerate that from a personal standpoint. If you're going to go out there, I don't care if you're a superstar player. I don't care if you're making $100,000 million a year. I want to see maximum effort. I don't care. I want to see maximum effort. That's why players are idolized in this town. Think about it, okay? Players that might have not been the greatest, but we love in this town. I mean, okay, so Dawkins, he was the greatest. Maximum effort. He's a Hall of Famer, okay? Brandon Graham, he was not always the greatest. He's not a Hall of Famer, but we love Brandon Graham because he struggled, but you know what? He always worked his ass off to get better, and he eventually did get better. It took him a while, but he got better. People like Jason Peters, he was fantastic. I could go on and on and on. Players that give maximum effort, this town will rally behind. I can't rally behind a guy who clearly wasn't giving maximum effort. And that bitch session went a little bit longer than I thought.
I was going 30 seconds times 5 or something.
It doesn't just pertain to AJ Brown, but it seems AJ Brown is the one that people are going to focus on, and I just didn't see it. His blocking, his route running, he just looked like he was going through the motions, and I can't tolerate that shit. I can't. I can't.
Well, I don't really have much more to add to the A.J. Brown stuff because I feel the same way. Dan and I are on the same page. If you watched everything from this past year, if you watched the wild card playoff game, the miscatches, the blocks, even during the season of him stop running and giving up because he didn't think he'd get the ball.
Right.
All that stuff comes into play. So going on to the comment, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, I don't even think we're getting the juice out of him. So I agree with you. Dan, I got to switch gears a little bit. We got some breaking news. Landon Dickerson is thinking about retiring due to injuries, and Lane Johnson is undecided. It seems like it's going to be a really tough offseason that's happening for the Eagles. Let's talk about Landon Dickerson a little bit. And during the offseason and right at training camp time, right before preseason, he had knee surgery, a meniscus, it's not a tough one. You can actually start walking around, but you should take care of it going into it. I think he went into the season and he didn't take care of it the way he should have. He was trying to be the tough guy walking out there. I really think if he would have taken the preseason off a little bit and healed or got this surgery earlier, he would have been productive during the season. I don't think Landon was as productive. Is there more to it than the knee surgery? Are there more injuries that are just not healing? The guy is only 27 years old. And I think that, if this is his decision because of injuries and being healthy and being able to actually do things in the, rest of his life, yes, it is a decision that he should do. Lane Johnson, he's given us so much. And if he's decided to retire, I don't think anybody would be upset with him.
Yeah, when you talk about injuries and you talk about people contemplating retirement, not because they don't want to be on the team anymore, but because of personal reasons, you have to look at it from a human aspect. You can't just look at it from a fan aspect and say, oh, well, this is going to cripple the team. And we'll talk about how it is going to cripple the team if it comes to fruition. But, you can't put a price on being able to spend time with your kids and spend time with your family and actually be productive members. We've seen people who have just played through injury and had long careers, but then they're kind of crippled in their personal life. And you got to make those hard decisions. And if he decides to leave, being Landon or Lane, really, then you got to respect it. It puts the team in a bind. And from a football standpoint, it sucks, but more power to him. If he can recognize that things are going to be rough and he just can't, physically and mentally, because you got to imagine the toll it takes on your mental health to come back from this, then you got to respect it and you got to say thanks for your service and we appreciate everything you did. I mean, these are guys that gave their blood, sweat, and tears, but I think you can go back in our episodes, probably from even week one, we all know Landon Dickerson struggled. He really did. He was one of the worst offensive guards in the league. And we both agreed that he came back from injury early. I mean, this is a guy that was an all-pro, and then he comes back to be one of the worst. You don't just have that type of fall-off, from a ability standpoint. There's something behind it. And I think we both agreed that the surgery was very late, and he wasn't 100%. I would be surprised if he was even 50%. But he tried his best. And for lack of other options, we had to roll with it.
Dan, there were some things that happened during the regular season of injuries within the offensive line. It was very tough to watch, and I agree with you. I think if Landon Dickerson decides to retire at this point and Lane decides it's undecided, it's a decision. It's a personal decision, and we hope they stick around, but we hope that if they do stick around, they are back to their Super Bowl caliber production. Now, if they do stick around and it's just the same season as this past season, then there will be more of a speculation that he should have retired given his current health and his situation. So whatever decision he makes, great, and we wish him the very best. Dan, I do have to point out that you just had a positivity segment right in that. So, a +1, a credit to you going on to it. Dan, there were some other things that happened. First of all, this has been offensive overhaul in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, ever since Sean Mannion was hired as the offensive coordinator and the pass game coordinator, Grizzard, was pretty much in the same, speaking segment. Now, we haven't had a press conference at all. Speculation for me is that the Super Bowl's here, and they're still making a number of changes, and they want to answer all these questions in their whole 10-minute press conference segment.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be one for the books because, like you said, I have never seen a team of this caliber do a whole offensive overhaul. Dan, what are some of the other changes that just happened on the offensive side?
Yeah, I mean, you go down the list. I got to scroll through here, but you go down the list, and it's like everybody on the offense, coaching staff is gone. Stoutland was the big one. He was announced. Well, he even posted that he's stepping away from the Eagles. So I don't think he's going to be done coaching, but he's stepping away from the Eagles. We all heard about the power struggle. He wanted to be run game coordinator. They kind of took that away from him. He wanted to be more involved in the offensive scheming, and Kevin Patullo, because he's this offensive genius, decided I'm gonna take more responsibility. And then Nick said I'm gonna take more responsibility. So whatever. I'm very opinionated on the Stoutland thing. I think they should have gave him whatever title he wanted because you're not going to replace him with somebody of equal caliber. You're going to take a step back. I mean, the guy produced all pros and Hall of Famers down the list. But, I mean, you got Mannion. He's gone. Or Mannion came in. Grizzard's your new pass game coordinator. Ryan Mahaffey. Another guy from the Packers. He came on. He's going to be your run game coordinator and tight ends coach. Wide receivers coach. They're interviewing people, so it does appear as if the guys, Aaron Moorhead and Jason Michael are gone. QB coach is Scott Loeffler right now, but they're interviewing other guys for that, so obviously he's gone.
It feels like a fire sale. It literally feels like we all were concerned with the defense going into this year, and nobody even thought the offense was going to have a struggle, even with Kevin Patullo, because of the talent. But it's not like they had a bad year. I mean, they made the playoffs. They had a bad off-season offensive production, but why?
Well, why? It's an odd situation because they're giving, obviously, this is not, let's preface it, this is not a Nick Sirianni production on the offense right now, okay? I don't know what the hell he's doing, but usually a head coach has oversight on players and coaches on his staff. I can't imagine that he's the one driving the replacement of all these Indianapolis guys that he brought over, because these are all holdovers from when he came with the team. I could see this happening if you hired a guy like a Frank Reich. You hired a guy like, I don't know, these established offensive coordinators who have a proven track record in this league. Sean Mannion has not called plays ever. He was a quarterback's coach for 1 year. He was an offensive quality thing the previous year. This is a completely unproven guy in the professional as well as the college ranks. He might be this offensive genius that some people are talking about. Chip Kelly. My God. But
for whatever that's worth, because he doesn't have a job either.
But it's hard to see why they would give so much offensive oversight and redo the entire offensive staff to accommodate a guy that hasn't yet called a play in this league or proven himself to be a commodity. I mean, just think about it hypothetically, okay? He sucks this year. Mannion sucks this year. What are you going to do? You basically took on an entire staff to accommodate a guy who sucks. are you going to overhaul the entire staff? Because my feelings are that, okay, if the offense sucks and the team struggles, Nick Sirianni has shown the door. So you're talking about a complete blow-up of a team that in the 2024 season was the Super Bowl champion, which is odd to say, but I think that's what's going to happen. So if the guy sucks, you completely did your coaching staff based on his strengths and who he wanted. This is going to... The offense is going to look completely different, which is what we were kind of calling for, you know. But is the offense going to look different being a positive, or is it going to be a negative? I think all the Jalen haters and all the Jalen supporters of he can't do this, he can't throw a seam route, he holds the ball too long, he doesn't throw with anticipation. We're going to quickly find out whether or not he can actually do these things, because the offense isn't going to be your guy better beat the other guy. It's going to be, we're going to scheme this open, and you're going to have to throw with anticipation. You're going to have to throw these types of routes that everybody says you can't do. So it's going to be interesting. I think that Jalen Hurts can do those things. I think that he wasn't asked to do those things. I'm not in the camp of people saying they tailored the offense to Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts couldn't do these things. I'm more in the thinking of Nick wanted to play everything so conservative and so close to the vest that Jalen wasn't asked to execute these things. So I think the offense is going to be better. Whether or not it is, it's to be seen. But we're going to quickly find out if Jalen is the franchise quarterback that I think he is. Wow, I went off on a huge tangent on that. I'm sorry. I took up a lot of time on that.
That's all right. Given Sean Mannion complete power on the Eagles side of the ball is a huge trust thing. And it's weird that we would do that, given the past experience of Brian Johnson, KP, is that we did this, even with Chip Kelly, giving him full power, and that was when Howie lost his reins for the season, and until he got it back. And, you know, when Chip was, like, doing a fire sale with all of our players and some named ones that we got rid of until we got them back, which was totally weird when they were productive. I don't understand the offensive overhaul that's happening. I think, though, I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt that Sean Mannion will be productive this season, and we will find out if it's a Jalen or a coaching issue, because if Sean Mannion comes in there with all these new coaches, by the way, this offseason is going to be very critical. I think the more touches, the more conversation, the more out there on the field doing it is going to set them up for success. I'm going to give Sean Mannion the benefit of the doubt that he is going to come in and show Jalen's strengths and hopefully not do hitch routes, because I can't really stand them. And that our run game is going to be back and reestablished. Am I disappointed in all of the changes? No, I can't say I am. I didn't even know half these people. We had to Google half of them to find out who they were. They're not names that we do. And hopefully... And I can't even say under the Nick Sirianni coaching tree, because what does Nick do? If this doesn't work out, Nick is done. There will be no planting of additional flowers. There will be no more cheerleading at all, because we're paying a guy that's supposed to be a scapegoat into 90% of it and come on there and tell the press what they need to hear. I don't know. I need to go look at the tape. I don't know. I haven't seen that. Well, we have to get better. We don't want to hear that crap anymore. We want to know you fucked up and you're going to do better. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Well, of course, as fans, we have to. I mean,
we don't have a choice.
What's the alternative? Right? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we don't make the decision, so we have to, right?
Yeah, we're going to ride or die with it. But, oh, my God, if that first game... Hell, in the preseason, if they go 3-and-out first drive, we're going to be booing in the preseason. but yeah...
I think we'll be a little bit... Maybe the second 3-and-out in preseason. But I get you. In the first home opener, the stadium will be rocking. I think hopefully the home opener is not like the second game of the season, and that we actually get that home opener.
Yeah, with the Nick Sirianni thing, it reminds me of all these lame duck coaches. And what I mean by that is he's just sitting there. And he's going to get no credit if it works. And he's going to get all the blame if it doesn't work. And it is unfair. It really is. But that's kind of what you get when you have a cheerleading head coach who doesn't call plays. Or not even doesn't call plays. He's shown an inability to call effective plays. It's not that he can't call plays. He can certainly call plays, but it sucks. His scheming sucks. And it's
pretty bad when he says his play calling is bad and that's why he got rid of it. That tells you where he's at, that he should never touch the mic or a play.
And it's so hard to see this offensive overhaul because the offensive staff, let's think about, well, it's a year ago now, last season to where they won the Super Bowl. Their passing game was ranked low because they just weren't. I think they were last in the league in passing attempts. So obviously your passing statistics are going to be low if you're not passing ball. But I'm of the boat that why the hell would you pass the ball a lot when you're getting 5.5 yards per carry and you're riding a 2,000-yard rusher? Why would you force the ball down the field? Okay, so the stats are going to be low, not because of Jalen's lack of ability. It's going to be low because we're going to run the ball until you stop us, which never happened. Nobody stopped us until the Super Bowl when we just passed the ball over you. So that was a team that led the league in rushing. They were in the top of the league in points per game. They were in the top of the league in yards per game. So this isn't an offensive staff that just tanked for years. This is a staff that, for everybody other than a shitty offensive coordinator, was the same. So to see an overhaul of this nature is just, it's something you don't see from a team that's been really successful. I mean, you see this shit from the Raiders, you see it from the Bengals, you see it from the Browns. This is shit that you see from teams that just don't make it anywhere. To see it from a successful team who not just won a Super Bowl last year. This is a perennial Super Bowl contender. We forget 3 years ago, they did go to the Super Bowl. They lost, but they did go. And then the following year, they lose in the wild card, Super Bowl, wild card. Hopefully this is Super Bowl. It follows that trend. It's just odd to see this. And to close off on it, they are giving a lot of faith to Mannion. And I hope they know what they're doing because they're really painting themselves into a corner. And if it doesn't work, then what are you going to do? And what's even more interesting is if it does work and Mannion... this is the king of hypotheticals right now, and I want to hear your take on it. If Mannion is really successful and their offense is top 5 in the league, and he turns out to be this. Do you know where I'm going with it?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
but everybody, you heard my answer, and he did not ask it. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, if Mannion is this offensive genius, and he leads the league, and they're highly successful, Super Bowl win, whatever. And then, let's say, ring, ring, the phone picks up. Hey, Mannion, you want to interview for this head coaching job that we have coming up, in Cincinnati or wherever the hell that's going to come up? Do the Eagles sit back and say, Mannion, we're going to let you go because we're going to keep Nick Sirianni?
My answer's no then, but yes to that.
Okay, well, okay. Do you promote an offensive coordinator who turned out to be a genius to head coach on a team that was so successful that they made a deep playoff run? Or do you really let him walk and then ride the Nick Sirianni train with another coordinator? Take it over.
Okay, first of all, my answer is yes to them promoting to a head coach.
Which is so odd, which is a weird thing to say, but yes, go ahead.
then you were going on, do you tell him that you let him go? And my answer is no, you don't let him go. I know it's weird. Okay, so let's talk hypothetical real quick for 30 seconds. If he is that genius in that production, do they do it this year if he doesn't get offered a head coaching? Because it seems to be happening with all our successful offensive coordinators. They get offered one. If nobody offers him this year, Nick and Mannion stay around. There's no changes. If he gets offered, Howie and Jeffrey do have to look at it like, Nick, you've been good for us as a scapegoat for a while, but we're not going to lose him. We're going to save some money, and we're going to promote Mannion to head coaching as well because we don't want to lose him. Yes. Do I feel that the Eagles would offer Mannion a head coach role if he is the top number one offense in the league next year and gets offered a head coaching role for another team? The Eagles would offer it. Or I would, because I don't think another change is going to help anybody on the offensive side, including Jalen.
Yeah, you're going to overhaul the offense again because you lost your offensive coordinator, and does it then become a Nick Sirianni production? Because if Mannion leaves, he's probably going to take some of his staff with him, which might include your passing game coordinator who does have offensive coordinator experience, Grizzard. So do you ride with the Nick Sirianni thing? I literally, this is an interesting topic. I'm glad it came up. I want to hear what the followers have to say to this, because you can sit on the fence either way, but it is an interesting conversation to have in terms of what does Nick Sirianni do that brings him value to this team if Mannion lights it up? So, do you ride with Nick Sirianni, who is, for all his faults, and you can give him credit, you can't give him credit, he is one of the most winningest head coaches in terms of winning percentage in the history, not just the Eagles, in the history of the NFL. So, it is an interesting conversation to have. And just imagine the optics of it. Hey, the Eagles have fired Super Bowl winning head coach who just made the Super Bowl in the 2025-2026 season for Mannion, who was offensive coordinator for 1 year. Now, I haven't given my opinion on it because I'm so undecided. But I think I would actually be on your side here. I would run with Mannion. Because at this point, Mannion is clearly picking his own staff. He's going to call the plays. He's going to have complete autonomy of the offense. What does Nick Sirianni do at that point? He runs the team meetings. He puts up a few PowerPoints. I just don't know what he does at that point.
I don't think they would change him and keep him on the squad like they're doing with KP. In fact, I haven't heard a single peep out of what
I think he's fired. It's just, I don't know.
Is he fired? Or
I don't know. Are they giving him a check? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're like, hey, listen, man, you got the shit end of the stick here. You know experience, and we put you in that position. And, well, Nick did, so you can go throw eggs at his house. But I think one of the things, and Dan, it's a tough scenario to put it in. And this is reckless speculation. Thank you, Hugh Douglas, for actually wearing off onto Dan. Is that
it's an interesting topic to talk about.
It is. Do you feel... Actually, let's pose that question to the audience. If the season is a success with Mannion and the new coaching staff, and he gets offered, there's the caveat, he gets offered a head coach position, do you fire Nick and give him the position or offer it to him? No offense to Nick. I mean, if you win the Super Bowl, that would be a weird thing to happen. You win the Super Bowl and you get fired. I don't think
you don't even have to win.
Even happened?
You don't even have to win the Super Bowl. I mean, if this team goes to the NFC Championship and loses, are you really going to fire a guy who's been to 2 Super Bowls, been to the NFC Championship at that point 3 times?
I think that would be better, though. I think that would go across a little bit better.
It would be easier to justify.
Yes, the optics of it, of getting rid of him. Hey, listen, we can speculate on all kinds of other things. but you just won the NFC, East. You lost the championship. We're going to let you go. I think it would go a little bit better, but I think the Eagles fans would understand that. But, man, the media would have a field day with this.
Yeah, and to take a serious note, and for my opinion on it is, I would do it because when I look back at certain situations, I feel like Nick Sirianni's message to the team gets lost. And there's times that this team, this year, last year, 2023, where the team needed a strong leader to step up, be the voice of the locker room, and say, cut the shit, with A.J. Brown, with the team, cut the shit, and we need to come together. We need to come as a unit. And it just didn't happen. The collapse in 2023 with Brian Johnson. 2024, they were very successful, but it wasn't without its drama. This past year, they had drama plus, not a collapse, but they were unsuccessful. There's times that you need a head coach to stand up there and take charge, and for all his antics on the sideline, for all his energy, and for all the shit that he talks about, I feel like he's not that stern with the team, and so that's a huge negative for me, feeling that he would stay on with the team. So it's an interesting conversation to have.
It's one we'll continue on throughout the offseason and into the regular season as long as Mannion is productive. Dan, I want to talk about Jeff Stoutland's message that he put on Twitter. It says, Philadelphia, I've decided my time coaching with the Eagles has come to an end. When I arrived here in 2013, I did not know what I was signing up for. I quickly learned what this city demands, but more importantly, what it gives back. The past 13 years have been a great privilege of my coaching career. I didn't just work here. I became one of you. Stout out. Now, why is there nothing, and by the way, this was on X, so obviously you're limited on the number of characters, but nothing to Howie or Jeffrey? Doesn't that lead to speculation that, and this was his time is up with the Eagles, not coaching, he's not retiring. Why nothing to Howie or Jeffrey? What is going on inside of that they have overhauled so much and he decided, I'm done?
Yeah, what was the dynamic like there? Because it's not like Stoutland quit right after the season. I mean, we're a month removed from the Eagles being out of the playoffs. So he quits after Mannion's hired. And if you're Sean Mannion, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do my offense, don't you want to have the absolute, regardless of bringing your friends or bringing over these guys, don't you want to have the absolute best position coaches in the league? Why would you not lobby for Jeff Stoutland? And if Jeff Stoutland says, I want to still be run game coordinator, why would you not give him run game coordinator? What, you're not gonna. It's not like it's not like Sean Mannion's gonna come on and say, "Okay, I don't want Stoutland because he's not good." I mean, he is I'm gonna say the best offensive line coach for the last many years. I mean, quickly, let's go down the list, and I don't have a list in front of me, so I'm off the top of my head here. Okay, he coached and made Hall of Famers of Jason Peters, okay? Lane Johnson, he's a Hall of Famer. Jason Kelce, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He took a guy who never really played football, he played rugby in Australia, and made him into arguably one of the best left tackles in the league in Jordan Mailata, okay? Cam Jurgens, who he had his struggles this season, but he was an All-Pro last year. This is a guy that is good at football, but, was he guaranteed to be the heir apparent to Jason Kelce? I mean, did we really miss Jason Kelce last year? It's hard to say this, but no, we didn't miss him last year. Offensive line was great. Landon Dickerson, he was an All-Pro. He took I'm going to say this. He took a bum out of the Jets in Mekhi Becton. He took a bum of a tackle, and Mekhi Becton with the Jets said, I'm not going to play guard. I am a tackle. He came to Philadelphia, and Jeff Stoutland and the coaching staff said, you're not a tackle. You're a guard. You are a guard. He made him into a Pro Bowler and a fantastic piece, and you can tell because he struggled. He might even be cut in Los Angeles. So he created all these guys. I could go Fred Johnson, great guy. I'm not going to go down the list anymore. But I'm going to summarize and say he took all these guys who were unproven and good players and made them great. He elevated their play. So what is the justification for not giving power to a guy who clearly has a proven track record of being the best?
My concern with giving all this power to Mannion is that it goes back to Chip Kelly. It goes back to Nick Sirianni and his decisions. Is that you can make a wrong mistake here. Now, we can turn out this be very successful, but when you lose a guy like Stoutland, it's concerning to not only the team, to the players, but he is leaving on a bad note when he had so much success. He's created so many awesome players within the league that he's going to be picked up pretty quick. He's going to be coaching somewhere.
Oh, within 5 seconds.
We'll be hearing his name again shortly here in the news. First of all, Jeff, thank you for everything that you've done here for Philadelphia. In fact, I don't think any Eagles fan is upset at you for leaving because we know there's more to it. And after seeing the offensive overhaul that's happening on the coaching side, that we know some internal stuff is definitely concerned. Now, Dan, why, after the announcement of Sean Mannion, the announcement of Josh Grizzard, the other coaching changes, haven't we got a press conference yet? Why are they not coming up in there and giving the media their fun day? And it's got to be 30 minutes to an hour because we have to understand, and this is the time the fans are going to really understand the type of coach that we are getting or coaches that we're receiving and how he needs to be up there. And Nick, you don't even need to sit up there because you'll just be like hanging out and whatever. You'll be cheerleading on. We don't need your fluff. We need somebody that's going to come up and do things. So why are we've not had a press conference yet on the recent hire of it? Is it because, we're at the Super Bowl? Or I think it would be the best time actually to have it so that the Super Bowl, if something happens, maybe in the media or something comes up, that it just gets washed away with the other news? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the lack of press conference is really the Eagles organization's failure to understand the fan base. And what I mean by that is they have to know, they say they know, we are an invested fan base. We're not just a September to hopefully February fan base. This is a fan base that talks about the Eagles every single month. This is a Go Birds fan base that lives and dies with this team. And this is a fan base that I feel deserves to know who the team is hiring. Obviously, we're not going to have a say in it, but it's hard to believe that we are fans, and I could speak for myself, and hopefully you feel the same way. I'm really on pins and needles to know what this guy is made of. Obviously, we're not going to see it.
We're not even going to find out into, even preseason's not going to tell us too much. I mean, we'll see. I mean, if they come out, but we're not going to even find out until the season starts. This is going to be a long time.
Yeah, and we all remember that Nick Sirianni's introductory press conference blew up social media. It blew up everything because he sounded like a moron. He had no idea what he was saying. His message to reporters was like he was trembling in his voice. He didn't come off as confident, and for many, many months, the story was, oh shit, we just hired a guy that's a complete moron and can't speak. So it'll be interesting to see what Mannion is like. We're not going to get much because obviously he's going to be coached on what to say. But I want to see some fire. I want to see some energy. I want to see some bluntness. I don't want to see, hey, we're going to just run the offense. We're going to run the ball to run the ball. We're going to pass the ball because we're going to pass the ball. I want to hear, we're going to do this. We're going to play to our players' strengths, and I don't have a scheme. I'm going to make my scheme based on the personnel. So it's a failure to see the fans' investment in this team, I feel.
And I want to say, if he does in his initial press conference mention that he will be making some in-game adjustments, we will love him more. We will give him praises. Sean Mannion, if you come into your press conference and say that you will be running the offense to the powers of Jalen and the team and the players, and if it's not working out, you'll make some in-game adjustments to not only be successful. You will be an awesome, even to start that one. But Dan,
I really hope that, real quick, I really hope that he's mentally prepared for this, because this is mental warfare. This is mental warfare. This is not the Green Bay Packers media. This is dipping your toes into one of the most condescending, second-guessing media and fan base in the world. So I hope he's ready.
Maybe that's why they're taking so long, is to prepare Sean Mannion for the press conference. And it's almost like going into deposition. They are going to put him on the stand, and the defense is going to come up there, and they're going to rip them apart and just figure out the type of guy he is to make sure that he comes across. Maybe he's getting speaking lessons. Maybe he's coming across. Who knows what's happening behind the scenes? I do hope that he comes across very clean, concise, understands, and a little cocky. I think I would be happy with a little cocky, not too much because you've never called a play before, but a little bit, and you will be the best. In fact, before we switch over to our Super Bowl predictions and wrap up the show on the Eagles Autism Foundation event that's happening on May 9th, we're going to display some more information. Dan, should I wrap up the show with 30 seconds of positivity from you, or should we do it now?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So, Dan, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think that we're going to give you some positivity. In fact, I want to see how well this goes. Let's go over to our Super Bowl predictions. Dan, and we don't have to give scores. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I have Seattle. I'm a defensive kind of guy. I can watch hard hits and just bloody chin straps all day. I think that Seattle's defense is just killer, and I think that they're gonna. I don't even see it being that close, to be honest with you. I see it being a 2-possession game, probably Seattle winning by, I'm gonna say 13.
I'm gonna go with the Jets. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, I'm not really super excited about the Super Bowl.
Nor am
It is
I.
a rematch against Seattle and the Patriots, and everybody knows the last time that they played, I think it was like 11 years ago, where Malcolm Butler got the interception in the end zone, and, Tom Brady gave him the Toyota truck, and because he, all that, but I don't think he had a really great season afterwards or anything. But I am going with Seattle. I don't think, and I like Drake May as a person. I don't think he is that Tom Brady guy or whatever it is for Patriots, because he's always going to be compared to him. I think Seattle's defense is top notch. Are they back to the Legion of Boom? No, but I do think that Seattle's going to win. I'm rooting for them. And no, I don't want to see the Patriots win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not emotionally invested in the Super Bowl at all, except for some of the financial stuff that comes with it, the squares and the predictions, but I just think Seattle's a better team, offensively and defensively. I just think that there's no phase of the game that they're worse than the Patriots.
Dan, I want to talk a little bit about the halftime show. I know there's a lot of controversy that's happening on the halftime show. There's, whoever they picked, and we'll get in there. Politically speaking, Bad Bunny's not my jam. In fact, I never even heard of Bad Bunny until they announced it. Now, his songs are in Spanish, I believe, mostly. I think the only thing that rubbed me the wrong way was his comment of having 4 months to learn Spanish was a little cocky on his part because, I think this is a Super Bowl. It's an American sport, and I don't think you should be, I think it should be for everybody. And I really feel it should be a country type one. They haven't had some of the strongest performances out there. I really did Michael Jackson probably did it the best, the Super Bowl halftime shows.
Prince was really
good. Prince one was really good. Yeah, those were ones. I can't recall what was it? Was it last year or 2 years ago? 50 Cent and all that. That one actually, Eminem. They came on. They were actually pretty good to it. I will be watching the Kid Rock halftime show by Turning Point, I guess, is putting on. You can watch that on YouTube. You can watch it on their channel. They'll be live streaming on some other things. You know what? If you don't like the halftime show, go over to the other one. If you don't like my comments on it, swipe or change the channel. I don't know. I don't really care. This is my personal opinion, is that style, I guess, if it was a country one or is showing up, and I would be watching it, but this one, I just don't feel, and I do not want to see some dude in a dress. That's just my personal aspect. I just want to go out, and I want this music to be unpolitical. That's what I want.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's what you're getting with this situation is regardless if you like Bad Bunny or whatever, I'm on the same boat. I don't want to see him. And I'm trying to not anger followers, but I just don't believe in his message. I don't like his music. First off, I'm a rock guy, but the halftime show to me should not be a topic of conversation. It should not be a divisive thing. It should not, like you said, it should not take a political stance. We don't want to pin, there's enough going on in the world that's pinning left versus right, blue versus red, all that crap. Why add fuel to the fire? Why? It's not, I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with, because there's going to be, how do I say this? There's going to be a political aspect to this halftime show. There's going to be a ice out type of deal. He's already said that he's going to make a message to highlight the fact that he believes that ICE is wrong in doing their stuff. And I don't think the country needs that. I don't think that. This is a primarily primarily English broadcast with a lot. It is a global outreach, but it is an English broadcast. I think that the music should be in English. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it's decisive. I don't
like it that they're picking this to be controversy and controversial.
Right.
However you want to. I just want to, and I think the one thing with music is the power to usually unite, and it's doing the opposite in this situation. And this is not the platform to do it. And I think you've alienated a lot of people just because of how you're trying to convey your message, your political views on it. I don't think we should separate any of them. I will be watching the Kid Rock one because it feels great to me, because I like his music. I understand his music. It is my style, my type of it. Brantley Gilbert will be on there, Lee Bryce. There's a number that are showing up for it, and they're all country, which is awesome to me because I'm a huge country person. I mean, Kid Rock's got his style as well. So I think in this instance, when they decided this, and I think one of the things, what it came across that said, hey, we're announcing Bad Bunny with, say, Kid Rock, you know what I mean, and trying to bring the two sides together, that probably would have went over better for me.
Yeah, that is a great point. That I didn't even think of that, but that is a great thing. Is why not use this platform to unite two completely different viewpoints and oppositions and musical styles? I mean, Kid Rock is politically is charged to the right. Okay, he's made it very clear that he supports Trump. He supports all this stuff. Bad Bunny's made it very clear he doesn't support Trump. He doesn't support any of that. If you could bring those two together and just have a common message and just sing together, I think it would
show unity.
Yeah,
Yep.
show unity. Don't show divisiveness. It's what we see enough divisiveness in the news saying, steering things towards and using the narrative towards one side or the other. We don't need that. On the biggest stage, if you could show unity, then maybe it's stupid because it's a football thing. It's just television and whatever. But, if you could show unity in that situation, then maybe it will be an olive branch to just cut the shit that's going on. And, you hate to see football or any sport really be a political thing. It's just, We've seen it with a lot of players. They voice their opinions on things, and a lot of people say, we just want to see you play football. We don't care about your opinion or whatever. It is a global thing. The NFL is the biggest market in the world, probably. But use that platform to do good, not to create a situation like they're doing.
And I'm going to end it right there on the topic that is as political Dan and I will ever get on this show,
Right.
or I'm hoping we'll ever get on it. And the only reason we brought it up is because of the halftime, and it's been a huge topic out there. We're big Super Bowl fans. In fact, usually everybody comes in and watches this aspect of it. I'm going to switch gears. My last thing on there is Dan and I and my son Jordan are participating in the Eagles Autism Fundraising Foundation. It's the 10K ride, right? Or 10-mile ride.
Yes.
It's a 10-mile ride. It's called the Wawa Shorty. Or.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, actually. Anybody ready for lunch? So anyway, I will display our links on the screen. In fact, for the month of February, I believe they are matching all the donations. And we have both, Dan and I have said that we will raise $500 each. And my son has to raise up to $350. I'm going to also display his first. We'll get it all onto Facebook. I'll worry about mine later. But it's a cool thing to be part of. Dan and I did it last year. We absolutely loved it. We're going to do it every year since. We're going to keep this going. Any support is great. But either way, go on there, take a look at it, be part of it. Maybe join us for the ride.
Yeah, and most of us know, a person with autism on the spectrum. I mean, my nephew-in-law, but my nephew has autism, and I never experienced it before until I see him. And it is so challenging from a parental aspect. I really applaud his parents for it. But to raise awareness, to be able to make accommodations to, autistic children and adults is a fantastic thing. There's nothing negative you could say about what the Eagles are doing with this foundation. It's fantastic. They are top-notch. They do so many inclusive things, and the bike ride is just one of those things. And, please, if you can't support us financially, then that's fine, obviously. But, I mean, just bring awareness to it. Do what you can to support, people in that situation and people on the spectrum and everything, and just be supportive. It's a great cause, top-notch cause.
Yep, I agree. Dan, before I wrap it up, I'm going to give you, and we'll see if it's 30 seconds, 30 seconds of positivity from what just happened in the news and our conversations. Go.
I am positive that this is a weird situation.
That is probably the most positive.
Yeah.
No, Dan will be more positive later on, but
No, but seriously, I mean, ride or die, you're going to be with these Eagles. We could speculate and we can say, God, I hate this goddamn team. I hate Nick Sirianni. This team's joke. I don't want to watch them anymore, but we're going to watch them. That's who we are. We're diehards. We're fans of the game. We're fans of the team. I'm cautiously optimistic that this is going to work out, but that's not really positive. So I don't know.
That's sort of positive. My feelings on the whole aspect is that we have to give them a chance, yet we are still going to call out some of the weird stuff. Jeff Stoutland leaving, the offensive coaching staff overhaul, all that stuff is really concerning to us. To stay positive on it, you have to bring or proven coaches into your locker room in order to say, holy shit, this is going to be awesome. When you bring in some names we've never heard of, yes, we're going to question, but ultimately, we're still going to be there, ride or die to the end. It's just the way it's going to be. Well, everybody, thank you for joining the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Myer along with Dan Palmieri. Dan?
Yeah, it's ride or die. You're going to be with the team. You ride it out. Hopefully we have a lot more things to talk about. And if you're like me, you're counting down the days to free agency. I don't remember the exact day, but it's in March. So you're going to find out a lot about this team and about the personnel. It's going to be one of the more interesting off seasons that we've had. And hopefully we get some resolutions to our questions so we can come on here and, well, at least I could bitch about it.
Everybody, go Birds!
Go Birds!